welcome back to me, welcome back to Thailand, welcome back to True Blue Thai. How are you doing? Looking out the window, the door, for instance, because we've got a bit of a black sky coming around. It looks like it's going to rain. Yeah, it's weird. It's not one time of the year, for instance. It's always sun all the way up to after Songkran, which is March, and then probably have a bit of rain. But so it's weird to have a bit of rain. Yeah, very strange. I should have gone running this morning. It didn't. Oh, crazy. What's it called? Maybe if it starts raining, I'll go for a run. What's its best time to run? Anyway, so I hope you're doing well. The day after the day after the day after before, and we are talking. I had to avoid the social media yesterday. For instance, to which not the social media, not this actually no, not actually not the social media. I had to avoid the the media full stop. For instance, the mainstream media, because it's the mainstream media which I need to talk about. For instance, and it's that, and it's a conversation which I've been having with my friend, etc., back in England, and we were talking about, and he kept saying to me, because I kept getting angry, and he said, just don't bother, just don't listen to it anymore, for instance. And what it is, I feel betrayed. And I feel betrayed because, quite honestly, for instance, when I was a kid growing up, for instance, we used to always look at we didn't have the internet, in the way that we do today, for instance, and social media, Facebook and blah, 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 and all this kind of thing, 24/7 media. And what's it all done? It's giving you the instant. But the problem is it's making the quality of it's gone down. And now you've got these things called clickbaiting. So, for instance, and where you feel let down and disappointed is the fact that, for instance, you'll be able to trust on what you read in the printed media and what you listen to on News at 10 and things like that and whatever. And because it would be, because the competition, they didn't have the 24/7 thing. Now they've got the 24/7 thing. They're coming out with all kinds of garbage and all kinds of puke and whatever. Who's going, who's staying, and this. And now you've got this broadcasting tradition, talk garbage, who probably started off quite, with the right intentions. And now all they're doing is clickbaiting, for instance. And there was a debate, for instance, on with Lewis, for instance, on his own channel, and it was called the Title Talk yesterday. And they said yesterday, and the Title Talk is basically what's called Man City, Forest, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal. And they were talking yesterday about, for instance, about this yesterday, and he was saying about the real clickbaiters are the media, the mainstream media, where a lot of the even though there's still a lot of YouTubers out there clickbait, and you see it in Thailand, especially in Pattaya, for instance, where I and the clickbaiters. And the fact is, but you listen to a lot of the mainstream media now, and they're puking at their puke. And a lot of it's all clickbait. And if you listen to a radio station. For instance, I listen to, say, their calling show at the end, for instance, with, what was his name? Oh, God, what they called? The two guys at the end, one's a Chelsea, one's a Spurs fan. And it's quite funny and whatever, and it's kind of whatever. But if they have this thing called playback, and then you can cut out the advertisements, the McDonald's advertisements, the betting advertisements. And then and you've got a 3-hour show, and you click it to get rid. And by the time they actually talk about football or the issue, it's probably about this much compared to the crap, which is about that much, where the advertisements and all this kind of thing. So by the time they take out the media, the news, they talk about the McDonald's, how much the latest McDonald's, and it's going to make you fat and ugly and grumpy, and then you're betting and the amount of betting websites and the advertisements about future upcoming things. They only talk about that much of football, and a lot of it is all about they have these call-ins, and they're about 2 minutes long. They've been screened to get the most juicy call about fans who are disappointed with their team or whatever. So, for instance, and you get these guys, whatever, and they come out and they talk absolutely, whatever, and it sounds good. He makes good. And when they come out and talk, like you got listeners like the Adrian Duran coming out now, telling him Pep needs to go, and then at the same thing, you're talking White and Jordan. We'll be talking about Man United financial woes. okay, about their latest thing, about how much money they paid out on new managers, on replacements, and how much money they spent in whatever ever since since Ferguson's gone, right? And how much their financial year. And then you got Adrian Durham, Pep needs to go. Ugh. And you think to yourself, you know, like it's all right saying Pep needs to go, Pep needs to go, Pep out. Who are you going to get him to replace him with? Nobody. You don't say anything. Who's for instance, there's so many. It's all right saying get rid of somebody. It's so simple. People do it in relationships all the time. People do it in governments. People do it in this. But it's all so simple when things are not going right to get rid of the problem, right? Without persisting with something, right? Let's get rid of David Moyes. He goes to Everton. Whoa. Woo. Okay. From West Ham, for instance, like that. Okay. They'll get in Julian Lopetegui as he came. So it's easy, simple to get in that. And then you get Ariel John say, "Oh, we'll get Man City fan." And then you introduce, they interviewed a couple of kids coming out of the Bernabeu, and you can tell them they have no stubble around their faces. They have little kids, right? Only Pep needs to go. Pep out is the headline. Where Man City fans upset with the Pep Guardiola, right? Kids, probably on something, drinking something, smoking something. Kids. And I will listen to kids, and they're supposed to speak the truth. Who are you going to get in? Well, you see, it's so simple to get rid of things, to come out with a clickbaiting headline, and this is this is my point now, because again, and of what they were saying on the Title Talk yesterday, that the real headline, the real truth about something, right? Who are now the YouTubers, because they're invested in their club. They're invested in not all, some, like typical City, like Mancunian way, like talking about Man City, like Lewis or whatever, who have spent their time talking New York God, talking about JCG, talking about their football club, Nobbins, for instance, who goes in detail about tactics and things like that. So you'd rather listen to them and trust in them than the people you've grown up with and former players who are just clickbaiting, who are coming out with crap. Neville, man, Spurs are big in the City. Just like stupid. And what is this bigness and whatever? It's pointless. It's just crap. It's just a headline. It's just rubbish. It's to get on and talk about garbage. It's just so annoying, and it's just, and you feel betrayed, because these are some people who are supposed to be sports journalists, sports people who've been working in the business. Mark Ogden worked for God knows how long. A trusted, well representative, trustful, and I'm not saying that all, but there's a lot who come out with garbage, writing in Twitter on whatever, coming out and go onto ESPN on that whatever, saying garbage, talking garbage, not having a proper conversation about who you're going to get in, what is the replacement, where is something, just something that fills up 60 seconds of space between advertisements. And that is where it is. And you feel let down, because you can't trust in what these people are saying nowadays. You can't. You really can't. And that's what is hurtful for me as a person, because I used to be able to trust in the media, trust in the British media, and trust in but now it's just turned into clickbait. And when I want to listen to a proper conversation about my football club, right? I go listen to Lewis and Tackle Talk. I listen to Mancunian Way. I want to listen to JSCJ. I want to listen to proper people, for instance, who invested their time, money, and effort. It was called in resourcing their story, and I have a proper conversation about something. And then you have a proper conversation about there was talking about Man City's shocking season, terrible season. Oh, City falling off the cliff. Whatever. There was an Arsenal fan on the Tackle Talk yesterday, a trustworthy person, who said Manchester City could have a better season than Arsenal. Right? And you're thinking, what? Man City's had a shocking season. Arsenal can end up no trophies. They haven't won the league. Man City could still finish second, right? Or especially in the least of the top four, could win the FA Cup and go and win the Club World Cup. And that's their bad season. And that's our transition season. Hmm? Man City are having a transition season. Pep Guardiola is having a transition season. With the players, because he knew that, and it was a combination of, it was a perfect storm of important players, the foundations of the players getting injured. Diaz, Rodri, De Bruyne, the foundation players, those major players. Okay, and then players coming in, getting injured, players coming in, getting injured, going from treatment table, and there was no playing every 3 games, and the squad is not big enough. We're not big enough. And there's been a drop off in form. What's it called? We didn't have a proper pre-season. It was all for the kids were all in America. A lot of the players were coming back from Europe, drips and drabs. So there was nothing, and there was and we got the injuries. So there was a perfect storm for Manchester City this season. But it's a transition, and we addressed it in January by getting new players in. It's given the players a bit of a lift, and we had a great result against Newcastle. The Real Madrid game, exactly, it was a game really, really. Real Madrid didn't want it, and Man City didn't want it because it was in we needed it further down. Okay, but we happened to, and it's one of those things, and it's stuck right between Newcastle and Liverpool, and a tough run, and it's not good. It's not great, but it is what it is, and it's just what we've got to deal with it. All right. Pep's had some personal issues, and it's personal to Pep. Nothing to do with me, nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the media, nothing to do with any person. But he's still continuing. But that is now part of the conversation, even though it shouldn't be. It's got nothing to do with anybody. Okay? I've been through what he's been through on more than one occasion, right? Women. But the fact is that you can't, what's it called? My credibility was questioned, right? My mental credibility. Now, and it's wrong. It's wrong, and it's wrong. What's it called for people to even say that, or to come that because it's personal. Pep is far too long in the tooth, far too experienced, far too knowledgeable. What's it called? I'm not saying it won't involve him, but he's got too many people around him. What's it called for him to make the right decisions? And just because he made the wrong decision to the team doesn't mean to say that he needs to go. Okay. But, when you got the likes of, I've just seen Ancelotti quote about Erling Haaland. He said, when you got Real Madrid players must have gone, yeah, we don't have Erling Haaland in. When we lost John Stones, etc., for instance, and a stalwart, a fantastic player, but they must have, and they got that early goal, right? Because they weren't happy playing Manchester City in any way whatsoever. Okay, so, but I'm sorry. So I just think, for instance, you can overreact, and then there's overreaction, and then there's clickbaiting. And clickbaiting doesn't help the situation in any way whatsoever. It makes you famous for 5 minutes. When people talk to me about, for instance, making my channel bigger and have a more sensational headlines, I see on YouTube, you look at whatever, how to make, whatever, you need to say these words, you need to say this, and to clickbait my headline. No, all I want to do is put in Man City News. That's what it is, Man City News, or my point of views, or whatever. That's it. But I'm not going to sit there and say, emergency meeting, this player needs to go, purple, that kind of thing. So I can get a click. It's not what I do, because quite honestly, it's a crap way to do it, because it's not why I do start this in the first place. I want to do it because I'm a Mancunian living in Thailand, etc. I want to talk about Manchester City Football Club. Not with some clown in a bar, for instance, who wants to glare at some 21-year-old etc. Thai going, whatever, in drunk or whatever. I want to have a chat about football, a Man City. But yeah, so for instance, and this is what absolutely gets my goat. For instance, when I see clickbaiting and whatever, and I just want to talk about football, and I want to have a conversation with you about football. I want to have a conversation with you about what you think, and not the words pep out, whatever. It's not, I just saw on Simon, whatever, the amount of players on Sky Sports, whatever the amount of people, for instance, who have left United since, how much money, and United spent over £1 billion, and how many managers they were employed, and how many of that. Okay. I don't want Man City to go down that stupid road, right? You got to think. And I'm damn certain I trust in Tiki, I trust in Bergestan, I trust in Caldina Mubarak, I trust in our board to get it right, which we will. And we need Pep to stay while we're getting it right, while we're sticking these things, and we want Pep to stay. Okay, we're allowed a transition. We're allowed it. You know, and stop jumping off the cliff and stop listening to the clickbaiters. Again, you know, on City Extra. I love the guys on City, they do a fantastic job. But now we're listening to Mark Cross and Daily Star. The Daily Star. Now we're listening to the Daily Star. Or you know, for instance, God's sake, they've got the Sun, the Daily Star. For instance, the best thing about those things were George and Lynn on the Sun, who was like that as a kid growing up. And, for instance, for instance, in the bit and page 3 or page 5 or page 7. Okay, right? That's what I used to love about that. You know, apart from that, I just had a good, you know, racing thing as well. But other than that, I didn't. You know, for instance, I used to, you can't take them seriously. Why am I taking them seriously? Right? Man City are going to get rid of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, Matteo Kovacic, Ilkay Gundogan, Ederson, Jack Grealish, and Kyle Walker, all expected to leave Manchester City at the end of the season. They're all going. They're all going to have a big party and all going. Right? Yeah? Because he said this. Am I supposed to believe what he says? He says this is what's going to happen, so I have to believe in what he says. Sorry, I'm just looking at the time. So yeah, no, I'm sorry, what's the goal? But you know, it's Man City complaining all season. We've had a small, tiny squad, and now suddenly we're going to get rid of a bulk of our 4-peat winning team. Get a brand new in because we're going to get Musiala, we're going to get Burts, we're going to get this guy in. Yeah, is that true? Weird how, for instance, a lot of these people, for instance, who say who were going to get in, was to go. Not one person mentioned now we're going to get in Kuzinov. Not one person said we're going to get Carlos. What's it called? What's it called? You know, the players we bought in, right? We keep forgetting that guy's name. Nico Gonzalez. Sorry, sir. Okay, not one person mentioned that. Okay, but what's it called? Yeah, so you know, until they came on Mamouche, not mention Mamouche. We're going to get this guy in. We're going to get that in. We're going to get Isaac in. We're going to get that in. Not mention that. So, and it's all right saying. Let's go through it. You know, because I heard New York Gocky went through it, so I'll go through it as well. Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, and people talk, oh, he'll go to Saudi Arabia, he'll go to China, he'll go to, you know, LB was saying. Kevin De Bruyne, what's it called? I remember was voted like the most scruffiest player, for instance, at Man City. And one Kevin De Bruyne was asked, why are you the scruffiest player at Man City? And he said to us, well, I've got more important things to do. I've got a family to look after. I've got to get kids to look after school. Kevin De Bruyne's focus is not about making the bag, making the money. Kevin De Bruyne's focus is about his family, his well-being of his family. And his family is settled in England. So he's going to put that above the bag. He's not going to uprun to take him to a Middle Eastern country, Saudi Arabia, regardless of what people think. He's going to think about paying his family. And that is more important to Kevin De Bruyne than probably more like money, for instance. And I wish people would just use that as an example. Rather than, for instance, rather than talking about how he's going. We need Kevin De Bruyne to stay one. If we're going to get a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, we need a protege in so Kevin De Bruyne can add that transition. So Kevin De Bruyne needs to stay one more season. Not because I must go for instance, I won these. If he's leaving, if he didn't have to play 3 or 4 games, maybe whatever, every third game or something, like just keep him fit, bring him on when it's really needed. But he needs to come on. He needs to play. For instance, we need he's still our most creative midfielder, and so he needs to play. We need to keep him at least just for one more season, right? While we get players to replace. Okay, and we can't just lose half a dozen players and expect to get another half a dozen players in who are tried and untrustworthy, right? These guys may be older and slower, but at least I feel like I can trust them more than players, for instance, that don't know who can't trust. It's all right getting players in, but how do you know they're going to play the Man City way, and how long is it going to take them? Bernardo Silva, again, for instance, a guy, for instance, you can trust, you can believe, but for instance, a guy who needs time for instance, who maybe not enough game time and not whatever. A guy who can come on and can change games like he did in the Charity Shield. A guy, for instance, who was go. So we need him, but we need him just to be part of the the transition. Okay. John Stones. John Stones can't play 3 games in a row. I know why we need. I know why we played him, but he can't play 3 games in a row. He can still play when he plays on. He's unique. He's a brilliant player, but he can't play 3 games in a row. So you've got to play him. What's it called? On a every so. But again, we need a bigger squad so we can rotate him, so we can give him the rest, so we can get 100% fit, and then we can play him. All right. Matteo Kovacic. Matteo Kovacic is brilliant. What's it called this season? Doing, ask him to do a role which is not his role, but he scored goals. He's trying to do his best as a CDM, but he's not a CDM. But he will actually thrive with Rodri and Nico Gonzalez in the CDM, in the midfield road, and also he can come on and replace the likes of that. Why we bought him in the first place? He was there as a replacement, a 60-minute replacement. Okay, somebody you can trust and rely on. Okay, not somebody you can start every game. Same with Ilkay Gundogan. Ilkay Gundogan has been criticised to hell, but Ilkay Gundogan was supposed to come on as a a part player, for instance, and a help out, for instance. But he's been asked to do a CDM role, which is not CDM. So, for instance, you got to, just I'm not just saying, but if he can stay on the bench and come on as a part player again, helping the transition, and this is what Man City need. Ederson needs to go a hell of a lot to keep Ederson. Best goalkeeper, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Fantastic at assisting. The best in assisting. Ball over to Mamouche. Makes mistakes like every goalkeeper, like every player this season. So but he's still the best. And Man City needed to go out and give him the bag, as the people put it, before he was to go win in this situation. But we need to keep him, and he's better than Ortega, regardless of what people say. Even though I love Ortega, Jack Grealish, we begged him to be I just want him to stay fit. If he can stay fit, for instance, we can, and he'll thrive. Well, unfortunately, he can't stay fit. But for instance, but when he does come on, he makes a difference. He made a difference against Leighton Orient, against made a difference against what do you call it? Against Real Madrid. But for instance, unfortunately, he can't stay fit, and it's a difficult one. But again, if you can make him fit, why is he not being 100% fit? Why is he picking up these issues? Right, right. Kyle Walker wants to leave. He wants to leave. You can go with my blessing. But other than that, for instance, it's all right saying get brand new players and get rid of your ones. It's not like going to a car showroom and get a brand new car, for instance, and it's going to behave better than the previous one you've got. You've got to bring in players and then go through that transition, okay? Because otherwise it doesn't work. And you've got to have trust and faith in the club and the people and the team, okay? Right, I'm going to get going before the rain comes. True Blue Time from Thailand. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. But if you're expecting me to be a clickbaiter, tell me come out whatever, or to be like that, then fine. If you agree with me, tell me. If you don't agree with me, okay. But I'm just doing these Man City chats because I love the club. All right, my heart is in the club. Colin Bell, me. All right, guys, love you, leave you. Talk to you tomorrow. True Blue Time from Thailand. Take care.